What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Shooting the Shit Uncensored. It is me, your host, the bald, the beard, the beautiful Piers Austin, and we are brought to you by the MWA Podcast Network. And guys, ladies and gentlemen, it is Thursday night. It is time to kick back, pour yourself a stiff one, crack yourself a cold one, kick back and relax and enjoy the show. I have a very special guest tonight, and at the end of the show I'm also giving away a free championship belt to one of our followers. So guys, make sure you tune in right to the end of the show. We're going to be doing our live draw, and we're going to be announcing that at the end of the show. But before we get into tonight's episode, I just want to take a quick second, a quick pause, a quick moment to thank some of those wonderful sponsors that help keep those lights on. And first up is healthvape.com. Now, healthvape.com sell healthy vaping alternatives. All products are no nicotine, no harmful or addictive chemicals, and they are vitamin infused. So make sure you pick yourself up some of their amazing vape and pod products using MWA pod for a 10% discount. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you here. I am an ex-cigarette smoker. I am now a vapor. Is that what you call them? A vapor, a vape user, whatever it is. I use a vape, and the thing is, my wife's busting my balls trying to tell me that I need to get off it, and this is the way off me vaping. I've got my health vape on the way, and I'm going to transition from my vape to that vape to eventually no vape. So guys, it's a great tool to do that as well. So make sure that you check it out if you want to quit vaping or smoking. This is the way to go. But also, guys, we can't forget about sleeves.com. Now, Sleeves is the perfect place. If you're an athlete or somebody you know is an athlete, you need to check out sleeves.com. They've got you covered for all your products for like arm sleeves, knee sleeves, compression pants, compression shorts, compression tights, joggers, socks, and even dirty boxers. And I'm going to tell you, the dirty boxers are the most comfortable boxers that I own. Seriously, it's like you're wearing air. Seriously, that's the best way I can describe it. They are absolutely comfortable, completely breathable, and even if you're active, they keep dry as well. So guys, check out sleeves.com. Use promo code MWA pod to get an additional 10% discount on your final purchase. But guys, I want to take a quick second, and we really have to acknowledge some of the amazing shows that we've got here on the MWA Podcast Network. Not just, Shooting the Shit Uncensored, cheap plug for myself, but also some of the other shows like Killing the Business with former ECW original, The Kingpin, Angel Medina, where he breaks it down live every Saturday at 10 a.m. Australian time, which is 8 p.m. Friday night, USA Eastern time. And Angel's one of those guys. He's really hard to control. He just lets it go. He's very controversial, has a lot of very controversial opinions about the way wrestling is today. So make sure that you check out Killing the Business. You won't be disappointed. Next, you need to check out Get Funked. Now, Get Funked airs every Friday at 9 a.m. Australian time, which is 7 p.m. Thursday nights at USA Eastern, and that is hosted by former WCW and TNA star Alan Kiwi Funk. He's had on some amazing guests, some guys and girls that he's trained with in the power plant, gone up and down the roads with. You will not want to miss out this week's show, where he has Reno on, former WCW star and former WCW hardcore champion. Guys, and also I can't forget to shout out Knights of the Gimmick Table with my boys, the Dead Presidents. These guys are having on some amazing guests. They are one of the best tag teams in the Northeast US indie scene in the last 20 years, guys. They've been bringing on guests that they've gone up and down the roads with, that they've wrestled shows, put rings up, pulled rings down, gone up and down every single countryside you can imagine, and their stories are absolutely hilarious. And guys, you got to make sure that you check that show out, because you won't be disappointed. But I can see there's a few people in the live chat here. We got Kyle Ead in the house. What's up, buddy? Good to see you here. We got Lowrider. Speaking of Knights of the Gimmick Table, there's one half of them there. But guys, without further ado, I'm going to bring out my guest, Chanel Phoenix. Chanel, thank you for sitting by while we got through the beginning of the show.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. It's I've been wanting to have you on for a while, and we're just talking before, and one of the things that really stood out to me was some of the striking that I've seen in your wrestling style, and we're talking about your training regime where you train in Muay Thai and also Jiu-Jitsu. Firstly, like I'm a former Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu sort of guy myself, but how long have you been training, and when did you pick that up?
So I've been training in jiu-jitsu for, I think, about 4 years now. I picked it up. I was living in Adelaide at the time, started at Wrestle Rampage, and one of the wrestlers there said that I should go try out jiu-jitsu. He trained jiu-jitsu. So I went and did one class and fell in love with it straight away. And yeah, I've been doing it ever since. It's great.
And I suppose as well, like the jiu-jitsu submissions and stuff as well would add to the repertoire of professional wrestling because you could pretty much make them work in that situation, right?
Yeah, 100%. So that's been obviously something that I've brought into my wrestling, the real grappling style, submissions, arm bars, mostly arm bars. It's my comfort zone. It's where I like to go to make people tap out.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever done any competitions like jiu-jitsu sort of grappling comps or anything like that?
I haven't done any official comps. My focus is my wrestling, so I'm a bit, I'm careful about doing comps. I don't want to get injured and not be able to wrestle. I'm very, very competitive, so if I'm going to compete, I'm going to win. So I have decided not to do comps, but I do roll a lot.
And getting into the professional wrestling side of things, like, I always ask this question because I find it interesting to know what draws people into professional wrestling. Like, I think a lot of different people have a lot of different answers, whether it be the athleticism, the showmanship, but what was it about professional wrestling that really sort of captured your attention?
So I'm one of those people who watched wrestling, WWF back in the day with my older brother on Saturday mornings, and absolutely loved it. Would always play wrestle, and he would beat me up and everything like that. But it was actually when I moved to Adelaide, my best friend and another one of my friends were like, you don't shut up about wrestling. You're always going on about it. You're always talking about it. Why don't you give it a go? Shout out to Megan and Ashley. And I was like, I would never be able to do that. Like no. And Megan was actually friends with Jag Hartley Jackson. And she's like, no, you should like message Wrestle Rampage and like, see, you should do it. You should do it. Oh, no. I could never do that. And Megan was an adult entertainer and Ashley is a professional pole dancer. And they're like, we do what we do. Why can't you do it? And I was like, oh, well, I'll give it a go then. And then, got in contact with Wrestle Rampage and went and had a tryout, and I just fell in love with it straight away.
Yeah. And, like, was there any like particular like performer that you sort of like really not inspired to be, but you really drew inspiration from?
Yeah. Eddie Guerrero. I love Eddie. He was majestic. Like, he played himself both as the heel or the face. His storytelling, his wrestling ability. Like, yeah, I loved Eddie. It broke my heart when he passed away.
Yeah,
like
same.
Everyone. Yeah.
He was kind of one of those guys. It's like when he was a heel, he made you hate him, but when he was a baby face, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like the crowd was ever drawn.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely that. And then I think for like the women, obviously I think the Bella twins are so underrated. I know they're like, everyone loves them, but they like did so much for women's wrestling, especially Nikki. Like, and Nikki was like, she was strong, and she was starting to do some bigger moves than some of the other women were doing when it was more about, being skinny and pretty. But I think it was a match I saw between Awesome Kong and Natalia in Japan. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like, I think it was, I don't even know what year it was. It was like New Japan Wrestling. Yeah, New Japan Wrestling. And I was just like, wow, like these women are like actually fighting. Like, it was great.
And that's the thing, like in Japan, like women were given opportunities like to go out there and steal the show, like almost like decades ago.
Yeah. It was an old match. I can't remember what year it was. It was, Natalia was very young, but yeah, I was just like, this is incredible. It's not just about being like skinny and pretty and like having pillow fights or bra and panty fights like they used to do. Like, these women are actually going out and showing that they can stand there and put on a match like the boys can, which was really cool.
And that's the thing, I think that with women's wrestling, like that, like generation gets criticized a lot, but when it really comes down to it, you have to look at the time of society at that stage where that was kind of like the social acceptance thing in professional wrestling and how it was seen. And, there was women then in those generations that could wrestle: Molly Holly, Ivory, Jacqueline, you know what I mean? Like China, Lita, like, the list goes on. But unfortunately, it was just that time, but I still think those women that were revolutionary in that time as well.
Yeah, they definitely paved the way for us now. And we can be nothing but grateful for everything that they did, because it would have been very, very hard.
Oh, absolutely. I think that that's where like it just come from, a lot of determination from a lot of dedicated, women in WWE to actually have started now to being able to achieve the goal of main eventing a WrestleMania or, main eventing a pay-per-view where it's, predominantly been, maybe one women's match on the card somewhere if there's enough time, So it really goes to show how far it's, I think as society is developed, but also professional wrestling as well.
Yeah, 100%. Yes.
So you said starting to train at Wrestle Rampage and learning the craft there. Like, what was it like going in the doors there and starting your career in pro wrestling?
Yeah, it was really, really scary. I think Big Willie Gibson is a friend of mine, and I was training in the gym with him, and he's like, come on, like you've messaged everyone and you like come do the tryout. And I was like, oh, he's like, it's going to be really hard. And he made me really, really scared, which was good because it was hard. But yeah, when I finally did it, it was like amazing. I'm so lucky that I have the foundation I do starting at Rampage. I've been trained by some of the best in Australia. So obviously Jag was my first coach, Damien Slater, then Jonah, and then Istria. So they're just like incredible wrestlers and like incredible trainers. And that's my foundation before I moved back to Melbourne. Now obviously training at MCW Academy under Jay Andrews.
And that's, those trainers are some of the best wrestlers in the country. You mentioned Jonah Rock, who is now over in NXT doing his thing and just, probably going to be the next big thing in professional wrestling, and really doing great things over there. So it's a testament to what you guys in Adelaide have really sort of established there. Yeah,
like incredible. So yeah, I'm extremely, extremely lucky. Not everyone has those type of opportunities. So I'm very thankful that was my foundation, and now I'm just building on that.
And what was the reason moving to Melbourne? Was it to focus on wrestling in Melbourne fully? Was that the reason for the move?
I'm originally from Melbourne, so we moved to Adelaide, and then I got homesick and decided to move back to Melbourne. And then also there was more opportunities wrestling-wise in Victoria than there is in South Australia, and I really wanted to focus more on wrestling.
Yeah, absolutely. And how did you find the transition going from training, with the guys at Wrestle Rampage like Istria, and then going and training over in MCW? Was it like night and day difference?
There is definitely differences. Obviously, trainers are they're just different, but fundamentally it's the same. I've grown a lot since I trained at Rampage and moving to Melbourne, obviously because I've had more experience with more opportunities to wrestle at different promotions here. So I've gone up in class, like the class levels.
Sure.
With Rampage, everyone trains together, whereas with MCW, because it's a little bit bigger, you have a beginners class, an intermediate class, and an advanced class. So that in that aspect, it's a little bit different. I think with Wrestle Rampage, it was at the time when I was training there, it was really good because it was very much about learning how to do moves, take moves safely, figuring out that type of stuff. Whereas with MCW, it's very much focused on storytelling. Obviously, the fundamentals and learning how to do everything safe as well, but they have a very strong focus on storytelling. Not that Wrestle Rampage didn't have that. It's just probably a little bit more at MCW. Their focus, they have your promo class with Crackerjack and stuff like that. So it's those little bit extras that you're able to develop here that maybe I wasn't able to develop as much over there. It's just different, but fantastic. Both amazing places to train.
You mentioned, Crackerjack being the promo coach. He's one guy who is absolutely just hilarious and such a great, awesome guy. How has he helped with your promos? Was that something that you were already strong with coming in, or was that something that needed work and someone like him has elevated it?
Yeah, definitely not strong. I've worked with him over the last 12 months. Pretty intensely, all through the big lockdowns that we've had here. So, yeah, really developing me and getting an idea of who I am. Spoken about this on another podcast, and Chris Fresh has spoken about it on a podcast as well. When I first came over, like, I just wanted to be a wrestler. I wanted to be someone else. I didn't want to be me. I wanted to play a character. And so I was finding it really hard to mesh my wrestling, my in wrestling with the stories I was trying to portray. And Chris Fresh said to me, he's like, you do jiu-jitsu, you do gymnastics, you do like all this like MMA stuff. Why don't you lean more into that? And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. Like, I want to be someone else. But it really took lockdown for me to really focus. And I was like, oh, maybe I should lean into what I know. And obviously it's worked, and the fans are liking it, and the promotions are liking it. And I'm having a lot of fun just being me rather than trying to be someone that I'm not.
And, that's the thing a lot of people in wrestling say, that the best characters are the person themselves, just turned all the way up to whatever number that you want to put it on. But,
yeah.
And I think that's where, and a lot of wrestlers I spoke to have said that once they sort of found that sort of themselves almost in their character, their gimmick, that's when it really sort of started, that light switch just seemed to flip.
Yeah, 100%. It really has been since the start of this year when we were able to do shows again. That switch really switched for me, and I put a lot of hard work in over the last 12 months in character development and making sure that I didn't take my eyes off the prize, especially here in Melbourne, since we did have a pretty intense lockdown. I made sure I was still training and doing everything I could to make sure that I was ready for when shows came back.
What did you like? You know, you said that you were trying to do some different sort of character styles, something that isn't yourself. Can you tell me what sort of like characters and gimmicks that you were sort of like drumming up?
I didn't really have like a real intense gimmick. It wasn't like, oh, I'm a librarian or something like that. I was just like, I had a lot of people giving me advice on who they thought I was. And it was probably a little bit overwhelming. So I was trying to, because I was very green, I was like, oh, they know what they're talking about. I should be this. And then someone else would say something else. And then I'm like, okay, I should be this. And then someone else would say something else. I'd be like, oh, okay, I should be this. And then it was just confusing. It wasn't like a set gimmick or anything like that. But yeah, now I'm just me. So it's a lot better.
And that's the thing, you know, it's getting to that level of, you know, your comfort level out there, like on who you were trying to portray, what you're trying to portray. And you talked about, you know, storytelling, you know, what sort of like stories do you like to portray when you go out there? Like when you walk through that curtain, what are you trying to portray to the audience?
So I'm all about like winning and trying to better myself. Like I came into wrestling not to make friends, not to be the crowd favorite, anything like that. What's most important to me is making sure that I'm the best Chanel Phoenix that I can be, and that every match I have, I am putting in everything that I can to win. I think being the best at a person you can be and wanting to win is so important. I didn't come to be like, oh, you're stupid or you're fat or you smell or anything like that. I don't care. I will take on anyone. I don't care if you're female or male. I'll step in the ring with anyone and I will try to win. And if that means I have to break some of my friends' arms, then I have to break some of my friends' arms.
I assume you prefer to be heel, or do you lean towards being a babyface? But I'm gonna say like a heel is sort of where
I'm actually face pretty much everywhere now. There's a couple of companies where I am still booked as a heel, but pretty much most places now I'm babyface. I used to be heel. I started off very much as a heel, and that was my comfort zone. So this has been a fun switch. Switching over to face. I'm very driven, so I'm very determined, and discipline is really important to me. So I think that is coming across to the fans, and they're liking that I'm so focused.
Was there a switch when they took you from heel to face, or was it just something that happened organically?
No, it's just something that happened organically. It wasn't like a big turn or anything like that. I'm just me. So even if I'm face or if I'm heel, I'm the same. Like I'm the same person. My values are still the same. They don't change. So it's not a really hard switch. Someone just asked. It must have been hard. No, because I'm just me. So it's not hard.
I suppose it just depends in the different direction that you really want to take it and where you sort of focus that sort of your persona into, whether it's like you direct it towards the person in the ring or the crowd itself. It's like the little adjustments that make it the heel or the face.
Exactly. So again, because I'm not playing a gimmick, it makes it a lot easier because I am just me. They are my values regardless if I'm heel or face. It doesn't make it as hard because I'm just me. It's my core values. So
When you got into wrestling, like, did you have a goal of where you wanted to go, what promotion you wanted to be, and where you wanted your career to be in pro wrestling?
No. When I first started wrestling, all I wanted to do was have a match, and get in the ring. So that was like the first goal. And then my next goal was to wrestle interstate, which I've been able to do. I've wrestled at Suplex and I've wrestled down in Tasmania. Obviously, I want to wrestle a bit more in New South Wales, get up to Queensland as well, once all the borders open. But yeah, I don't have that, oh, I must get to WWE or I must get here. I just want to wrestle as much as I possibly can. Hopefully I can get over to the UK and possibly America. I'm happy doing the indies. But yeah, I don't have that like big dream. I'm obviously a little bit older than most of the wrestlers that are just starting to come up and through or are around the same point in their wrestling career as me. So I know I'm not going to get picked up by WWE or anything like that. I'm a little bit too old, but I'm just happy to wrestle and indies. Yeah, anything is possible. Like if they came and knocking at my door, I wouldn't say no. But yeah, I'm not looking at that as a realistic option. But yeah, I just want to wrestle. Hopefully get over the UK. My dad's from England, so I have that dual citizenship to be able to do that. And then hopefully get over to America to some of the indies over there would be fun as well.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing. Like the UK scene is like pre-COVID was a very hot scene with like Progress over there. Even in the indies, like in the States, you know, with like GCW, Evolve, Shimmer. Like there's so much wrestling over in both the UK and the US that it's like there's so much exposure that you could get over there.
Yeah, 100%. And since Charlie Evans has been back in Australia, I've been able to be on shows with her and really speak to her about the UK scene and stuff, which has been really cool as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you know, the UK scene is, like I said, it's spectacular. And I think that your style of wrestling would really suit that sort of British strong style as well. So it'd be a good mashup to see.
Yeah, definitely. I've got lots of family still over there, so makes it a bit easier as well.
Cheap rent too. There you go.
Yeah, that's it.
But you know, as far as like, you know, coming up for this year, you know, you've got a couple of shows pre-planned. Next weekend is Deathmatch Down Under, where you're going to be tagging up and going up against the Anti-Deathmatch Party.
Yes.
So you're going to be tagging with Mortar. Yes. Okay. So yeah. So is it the first time tagging together?
It is our first time tagging together. We have wrestled each other before. But yeah, I think it's going to be fun. She's a powerhouse. So I think those Katie and Hector are going to be a little bit scared coming up against us.
There you go. And, you know, Deathmatch Down Under has been putting on some amazing shows as well. You know, you were part of the heavyweight title tournament, which pretty much had every top Australian professional wrestler in that tournament. It must have been, you know, humbling and flattering to be included in that list of amazing talents to be part of that tournament.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, absolutely amazing talent in that tournament. And like incredible, both of those shows were insane. Watching backstage and then, you know, watching after my match. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had a really great time wrestling Tyson. Lots of people enjoyed the match. It was different from all the other matches, which was cool. Me and Tyson trained together as well at MCW. So it was fun to actually have a match with him.
Do you think you would ever go and try and get involved in the deathmatch side of wrestling now that it's sort of available in Melbourne?
Yeah, I love death matches, but it's not really my thing. It's not my thing. I love it. I appreciate the guys. Like, you look at like Joel Bateman and Charlie Evans and Vixen and Mad Dog, the incredible things that they've done in the ultra violence matches that they have. Insane stuff. But I think it's really cool. But yeah, it's not really for me.
No.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that makes wrestling so great, is like there's always something for everybody. There's a style that someone will enjoy that they might like more than the other.
Yeah, and I do. I love it. Like, I go to the shows when, Jun Kasai came over and had his match against Mad Dog at BCW. I went to that. It was really cool. Like, I appreciate it so much. It's amazing what they do. But yeah, it's not something that I'm really interested in doing myself. Street fights and, hardcore fights with like, chairs and tables and stuff like that. But once you start going into like the glass and the light tubes and stuff, yeah, it's not really my thing.
Yeah, like it's a different beast altogether, though.
It is.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't think it would be my thing to get thrown into barbed wire or broken glass. But in saying that, I'm a huge fan of deathmatch wrestling. I've got a CZW title just here, so it shows my level of fandom to deathmatch wrestling. But and after that show, I think a couple of weeks after, you've got another show for Wrestle Rock, if I'm correct, right?
Yes, yeah. I've got. There you go.
No, I was just gonna say. So who are you facing in that match?
Yeah, so I'm tagging with my sensei, Jake Andrew Arthur, against Skylar Cruz and Anth Cover.
There you go. And both of those shows are in Melbourne?
Yes. Yep. So death matches in Ballarat, so just out of Melbourne, about 100 kilometres out of Melbourne. And Wrestle Rock is at the Corner Hotel in Richmond. And Wrestle Rocks are always a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely. I've heard the stories about them. But, as far as like Australian talent now, like who out there in the Australian scene is someone that you really want to have a match with?
So I would love to have a match with my best friend Avery. I think that's something that needs to happen. She's obviously taking a little bit of break at the moment. She's doing vet nursing, but I would love to have a match against her. We're besties, but we're very different as people. Our styles are completely different. And I think that'd be a really cool match. I would love to have a million more matches with Kellyanne. Yes, I would love to have a match with Charlie Evans. It'd be insane. And then Charlie, Avery, Kellyanne, before she goes to America, I will wrestle her 1,000 times if I have the opportunity. She's incredible. But there is a girl in Adelaide called Delta that I would love to have a match with. I don't know her, have never met her, anything like that. I just follow her on Instagram, and she's an absolute beast. And someone I'd love to have a storyline with.
Oh, absolutely. And one name that you didn't say that I would throw out there, I would have thought would be a given with the armbar thing, would be Jess Troy.
Jessica Troy. Yeah, love to have there's too many.
There is.
I think me and Jess would have a really cool match as well, with our difference with her Fujiwara armbar. My armbars are a bit different to hers, so I think that could be really interesting. She's very much that amazing like English style, UK style wrestling, where mine's very more shoot, more grappling, MMA style.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think, it'd definitely be an amazing match. But let's talk about international talent. Who out there internationally would you like to go up and face?
I would love to have a match against Jessica Havoc. I've loved her for years and years and years. I remember when she first was on TNA, and I was like, oh my God, who is this? She was just a beast, so strong. I think that would be really cool. Who else? Thunder Rosa would be really cool as well. She does jiu-jitsu as well. So I think that would be really, really cool.
Yeah, she's an MMA fighter as well, I believe.
Yeah,
She's had a couple of fights for Combate America, I think it is. So.
Yeah. So I think that'd be really cool. I don't even know.
So many names.
Martina would be really cool. Millie McKenzie. Yeah, there's too many.
No, absolutely. But look, it is that time of the show where we are going to play 60 seconds with Piers. So Chanel has been warned or briefed about how this works. So how it's going to work, Chanel, is I'm going to fire off a heap of questions at you. You have 60 seconds to answer them. When you are ready, you give me the Iggy and we can go ahead and get started.
Sure, let's get this done.
Which politician would you sit down and share a beer with, or White Claw?
I don't really like politicians, to be honest. I don't know. None.
What is your favorite meal to cook?
My favorite meal to cook. Do I cook a lot of? I love cooking like Asian food, so like Thai curries and stuff like that.
What is your go-to part? What is your go-to party trick?
My go-to party trick. I don't know. I can do the splits.
Name 5 things sitting in front of you.
My makeup, my PlayStation, all my Lego that I build, my TV, and lots of boxes of Cheezels.
What was the first concert you ever went to?
Blink 182.
In 5 minutes, you were being shipped out to outer space. What 2 personal belongings do you take with you?
I would take Avery, and I would take a lot of alcohol.
Snapchat or TikTok?
Snapchat.
Best subject in school?
Drama or English?
Instagram or Twitter?
Instagram.
Favorite wrestling referee?
Edwin.
There you go. Time. That is 60 seconds with Piers. But guys, before we let Chanel go, we are going to be announcing the winner of a WWF Block Logo Intercontinental Championship belt that we were giving away in the month of June at the MWA Podcast Network. So I'm going to bring it up in my screen right now. And how it's going to work, guys, I'm going to click on this 10 times. The 10th time is going to be the winner. Once the winner is announced, the winner will have 24 hours to contact us at the MWA Podcast Network to provide us their details. If no one contacts us, we draw it again. But here we go. First one goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And the winner of the Block Logo Intercontinental Championship is actually a wrestler from Deathmatch Down Under, and it's going to be your boy Murdoch. So I'm sure we'll be in contact with him very, very soon to let him know that he's got his championship belt coming on his way. But Chanel, where can everyone find you and follow you, support you, and buy your merch?
Yes, so I just released a new T-shirt on Wrestler merch, so go on there and check it out. You can follow me on Instagram at Chanel.Phoenix. Had to think of that for a second. Twitter at Chanel Phoenix, but I'm really never on Twitter. Most of my stuff is on Instagram. I've got, if you're in Victoria, your Deathmatch in Ballarat coming up next weekend. Wrestle Rock on the 31st of July, if you don't have your tickets, you should get them because it usually sells out. And then I've got VPW coming up in the start of August, wrestling Asia again. So your boy Murdoch, I'm going to break your girlfriend's arm again.
Well, at least he'll have a championship belt with him as well. So
Another one.
A courtesy of the MWA Podcast Network. But Chanel, thank you so much for coming on and being a guest. It's been an absolute pleasure. I absolutely want to get you back on again in the future for a part 2. But guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Please make sure you follow Chanel. If you're in Melbourne, make sure you check out Deathmatch Down Under. Head out to Ballarat, check out that show. Also check out Wrestle Rock as well. Doing amazing things in Victoria. And guys, make sure if you're in Sydney, keep your eye out, because once this COVID shit is finished, I know a lot of promotions are itching to get going and ready to get the ball rolling. But guys, special shout out to our sponsors, healthvape.com and sleeps.com. Make sure you check out those amazing companies. Use promo code MWAPOD to get 10% off. But also, guys, check out the rest of the lineup on the MWA Podcast Network, such as Knights of the Gimmick Table with the Dead Presidents, Get Funked with former WCW star Alan Kwee Funk, and also can't forget about Killing the Business with my boy ECW original, the Kingpin, Angel Medina. So make sure you check out all of those amazing shows and Wrestling with Tragedy over on the Vince Russo brand, another thing that I'm a part of. So make sure you check it out. Support everything that we're doing here, because we are putting out some of the best content in the world related to pro wrestling. But Chanel, again, thank you very much for being a guest, and we definitely have to do this again soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Take it easy, guys.
Thanks.
Peace.